procurement regulatory authority, questioning some of these tenders that are in this motion.
Waiguru is accused of using two companies, namely Velocity and Velocity, to defraud the county government of 50 million shillings. The ward representatives told the Senate committee that Governor Anne Waiguru had claimed interest for fictitious trips abroad, claims refuted by the embattled governor.
In the 2 trips that the governor did not visit, did not travel, her responsibility is to repay the money back to the county.
I'm aware.
And are you aware that those monies were repaid?
Chair, the money may be paid, but the question is when. And how can you accrue personal benefit in terms of foreign travel allowances the first time, the second time, the third time, without making the reimbursement, Chair?
Bwana Kinyo, do you understand how the process of interest works?
I understand very well.
So you know that you actually collect money. If you don't use it, you reimburse, you refund it?
Within a stipulated timeline.
Okay, and from where you see it, the governor has never refunded that money?
She has refunded some, actually, after this motion was tabled, Chair.
The Kirinyaga MCAs have also accused Governor Waiguru of undermining the authority of the county assembly and failing to issue the state of the county address. Waiguru, through her lead counsel Paul Nyambodi, had earlier in the day sought the expungement of some pieces of evidence adduced by the county assembly, arguing that she had already issued responses to outstanding charges leveled against her. The governor will on Wednesday present her evidence before the select committee as she fights to have her impeachment quashed by the Senate. The Senate Select Committee is expected to close the impeachment hearing on Wednesday evening before retreating to write a report which will be tabled before the Senate on Friday. Members of the Kitui County Assembly have commenced an impeachment process to remove Governor Charity Ngilu from office. In an advert, the County Assembly has given locals until Friday the 26th of this month to present their views regarding the impeachment motion, which has already been presented to the Speaker by Majority Leader in the Assembly, Peter Kilonzo. The motion of the removal of Governor Ngilu will be tabled on Monday for debate.
The future of Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu hangs in a balance. The County Assembly has commenced a process for her removal from office. In an advert, the Assembly has given locals in Kitui County until Friday the 26th of this month to present their views on a notice of motion on the removal of the governor by impeachment presented to the Speaker by Majority Leader Peter Kilonzo. In seeking the views, the Assembly says it is guided by Article 181, Part 1A to C of the Constitution, which stipulates grounds on which a governor may be removed from office, ranging from abuse of office, crimes under national or international law, violation of the Constitution, among other ills. The motion to have Ngilu axed will be tabled on Monday in the County Assembly for debate. The development coming at a time her only female governor colleague, the Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru, is battling her survival after she was impeached by the County Assembly. Currently, a committee of Parliament is deliberating on the motion that led to the impeachment of Waiguru. Purity Museo, Channel 1 News.
And away from political matters to health matters, where the Ministry of Health is expressing concern of increased cases of teenage pregnancies, domestic violence, among other vices during this time the country is battling the coronavirus pandemic. Speaking during the daily COVID-19 update, Health Chief Administrative Secretary Dr. Mwasi Mwangangi called on players to prioritize sexual and reproductive health. The CAS also gave an update on the daily status of the coronavirus pandemic, where 155 cases of COVID-19 were recorded over the last 24 hours.
Vices such as domestic violence, intimate partner violence, teenage pregnancies, as well as child abuse, either by close relatives or friends, are reportedly on the rise in the country due to the containment measures occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the Ministry of Health, children are the key victims of these vices.
And as a Ministry of Health and as government, we affirm and commit that women and children need to be protected at all costs to prevent them against any violence and abuse. Sexual and reproductive health needs, including psychosocial support services, protection from gender-based violence, must be prioritized to ensure that they are available, especially at this time of the pandemic.
Chief Administrative Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Mercy Mwangangi, called for concerted efforts in protecting children during this time.
And indeed, the ministry considers one pregnancy of a teenager too many, as each girl and boy deserve an equal opportunity to thrive and to be free of health risks and economic burdens emanating from premature parenting.
We need to work together as a whole society to ensure that we don't have any teenage pregnancies. This is obtaining because of the unique situation that we are in. But as parents, as brothers, sisters, of each and every one of us, we need to work together to ensure that the teenagers are protected so that they can be able to achieve their full potential.
Meanwhile, coronavirus cases in the country are inching the 5,000 mark after 155 more people tested positive between Monday and Tuesday, raising the country's caseload to 4,952.
Of all the cases tested, we have 120 of them being male and 35 of them being female. The youngest is a 1-year-old infant, whereas the oldest is 77.
Nairobi County had 104 cases, followed by Busia with 19, Migori 10, Mombasa 9, Uasin Gishu 4, Kiambu 3, Machakos and Nakuru 2 cases each, while Kisumu and Kajiado had 1 case each.
Again, we are delighted that we've discharged 102 patients, bringing our total tally of recoveries to 1,782. And we continue to thank our healthcare workers for this good job and for this achievement.
The death toll, however, rose to 128 after 3 more patients succumbed. At the same time, the CAS cautioned Kenyans traveling from abroad that the arrangement to evacuate them would be stopped if they continue to disregard COVID-19 prevention protocols.
And we would like to clarify that anybody coming back home must have a COVID-free certificate from the country of origin. And before departure, airlines are expected to ensure, and that it is mandatory, that the passengers do fill in a declaration form indicating their preference when it comes to quarantine, and this could either be government quarantine facility or a hotel/private facility in terms of quarantine. And for those who have underlying health conditions, they must ensure that they have their local doctors who have committed in writing to the Ministry of Health to have them self-quarantined at home under their supervision.
The Ministry of Health urges Kenyans to strictly follow guidelines on COVID-19 prevention and not to focus on how or when the vaccine for COVID-19 will be available. Purity Museo, Channel 1 News, Nairobi.
The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has arrested 8 out of the 12 senior employees of the Kenya School of Law implicated in a multi-million shilling corruption scandal. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecution Tuesday morning ordered for the arrest of the employees in connection with the regular payment of more than 198 million shillings for goods and services not delivered.
A dozen senior employees at the Kenya School of Law are on the spot for allegedly being involved in fraud that has seen the school lose more than 198 million shillings. The Director of Public Prosecution, Nurdin Haji, Tuesday morning ordered for the arrest of the 12 to answer to various charges in connection to fraudulent payment of 198,441,030 shillings by the institution to 6 companies for goods not supplied and services not rendered. The allegations of irregular payment of the said monies shows that Kenya School of Law lost the money to business entities registered in the names of senior employees at the school. The 6 companies, namely Ademwa Enterprises, Alfrank Investments, Densketch Investments, Farmline Company, Frigoya Investments, and Ngoya Cosmetics, are said to have been fraudulently paid as they had not been pre-qualified to supply any goods and consequently did not deliver. According to the DPP, the fraud was perpetrated by the bank signatories to the school accounts who were senior employees at the school and the finance department who who will sign for different entities to be paid in the check endorsements register to effect payments. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has already apprehended 8 suspects in the list of the DPP. They are Professor Maurice Kiwinda Mbondenyi, Amos Kabwe Mwangi, Frank Jackson Were, Hudson Amwai Lwigado, Norbert Achiro Gondi, Paul Lovi Adega, Frida Wandangoya, and Kenneth Ochieng. The 4 still at large, namely Ephraim Thukungumi, Francis Mwaki Lwigado, Alfred Murange Lwigado, and Dennis Sam Achiro, have been directed to present themselves at the Integrity Center as soon as possible. The suspects are scheduled to be arraigned in court to take plea on Wednesday, facing offenses of fraudulently making payments from public revenue for goods not supplied, abuse of office, unlawful acquisition of public property, failure to disclose a public interest, and conspiracy to commit an offense of corruption. Kamche Menza for Channel 1 News.
And back to Parliament now, where the ousted leader of the majority party in the National Assembly, Aden Duale, now says he has no ill feelings or grudge against anyone following his removal from the office of the leader of the majority party. In an emotional exit speech, the outspoken Garissa Township MP said he's satisfied with his 7-year performance, acknowledging that despite the challenges he faced in his tenure, he succeeded in championing the legislative agenda of the Jubilee Coalition.
Kilicho kuwa na mwanzo hakikosi kuwa na mwisho. Today marks the end of my service.
After serving in the office of the leader of Majority Party for the last 7 years, it was time for Garissa Township Member of Parliament Aden Duale to officially call it a day and hand over the instruments of power to his successor, Kipipiri Member of Parliament Amos Kimunya.
I was not removed for inefficiency or lack of delivery, but simply the circle of the career of politicians. I therefore harbor no ill feelings or grudge.
In an emotional exit speech, Duale said he leaves office as a satisfied man after succeeding in championing the legislative agenda of the Jubilee Coalition despite the challenges he faced during his tenure.
My experience as a leader of majority taught me that as one pushes the agenda of the majority party, it is almost inevitable that one will make new friends, new enemies, and opponents, particularly within the party, depending on where their interests are. Interestingly, interests also keep evolving, and hence, one's opponents today might be his or her friends tomorrow.
Duale said he has no ill feelings or grudge against anyone following his removal from office, and instead apologized for any wrongdoing while executing his mandate.
Allow me to unconditionally ask for forgiveness and apologies to anyone in this house and outside who I may have offended in the course of executing my duties. I was simply doing my job. And such is the nature of the job, as Honorable Kimunya will come to appreciate soon.
Honorable Duale, I think you've done your bits, and you've done it well. I don't think anyone would have done better than you, especially as the first leader of a majority in this country, at a time when it was not easy.
In his acceptance speech, National Assembly Majority Leader Amos Kimunya promised to unite the Jubilee Party and continue working with other leaders for the better good of the country.
We continue working together. We bring the unification of this country together, the unity of our party, working together with our colleagues from the minority party for the better good of the Kenyan people.
We'll work with you. I know you have all the experience. I know you have been a leader of the government business in the 10th Parliament, and I know you're equal to the task. We will work together as a parliament, and we see how we can advance, as you said, the agenda of the people of Kenya.
The development coming amid mixed reactions from Garissa Township residents following the removal of their Member of Parliament as Majority Leader.
He will remain the Member of Parliament of Garissa till 2022. Wale ambao wataamua ni sisi. lakini hiyo kutolewa katika leader of majority ilikuwa ni party position. Lakini wananchi wa Garissa bado sisi ni mbunge yetu.
Ben Chumba, reporting for Channel 1 News.
It's 1:15 the hour. You are watching Channel 1 NewsHour on this 23rd day of June 2020. We are taking a very short break, but don't go anywhere. We still have plenty more lined up for you.
My friend, umewahi kudanganywa. Umewahi kudanganywa. Sasa ile uongo unaenda kupewa sasa ni kilo 8. Sasa tu hiyo ukitumia credit yako. Ile uongo unaenda kupewa kwa hii simu. Mako.
Kupata umewahi danganywa, bonyeza star 811 star 965 hash. Bonyeza star 811 star 965
On the next episode of Corner.
Ya muhimu kwanza ni kujua hali yako ya status ya HIV.
You fool! Do you know what that means? If Chanakya is able to meet Bindusar, then our plan will fail. Death sentences will be awarded to me as well as to all of you.
All of this can be answered only by Acharya. And that's only possible if you treat him.
Love bila gloves, haiwezi. Rieni kujua.
Afya bora, maisha bora. Jipime, jiinue.
Je, ungependa kujua jinsi ninavyojizuia kuambukizwa au kuambukizana virusi vya korona? Ni rahisi. Mwanzo, ninaziendesha shughuli zangu zote za kikazi na hata za kibiashara kutoka papa hapa nyumbani kwangu. Baadaye, ninaitunza mwili wangu vyema kwa kuiweka katika hali iliyo sawa kupitia mazoezi ya mara kwa mara na pia lishe bora. Mwishowe, ninaungana na jamii yangu pamoja na marafiki zangu kupitia njia ya simu au mtandao ili kuzuia dhiki na upweke wakati huu mgumu. Kumbuka, haijalishi kama uko na virusi vya korona au la, salia nyumbani. Uokoe maisha.
Thank you very much for keeping us company. This is Channel 1 NewsHour. Let us take a look at other matters we have for you this evening. The government says that the implementation of a transformative program in all sectors of the economy to improve service delivery is now top of its agenda. Speaking after leading a tree planting session in Ngong Forest in Kajiado County to mark the Africa Public Service Day, Public Service Cabinet Secretary Margaret Kobia and her environment counterpart Keriako Tobiko underscored the milestone the country has made in improving service delivery to its citizens in line with this year's theme of entrenching good governance, developing transparency and accountable institutions.
Tree planting exercise characterized the African Public Service Day at Ngong Forest in Kajiado County, as Kenya joined other African continents in commemorating the African Public Service Day. A day celebrated to recognize the value and virtue of service to the community. At least 5,000 tree seedlings were planted during the exercise. Public Service Cabinet Secretary Margaret Kobia, who led the tree planting drive, revealed that the government has made great milestones in implementation of a transformative program in all sectors of the economy to benefit the common mwananchi.
We must continue in the same trajectory to make the public service more efficient, more effective in delivering the services to our citizens.
Kobia further said that the decision to carry out tree planting exercise to mark the day was to ensure that the country attains the 10% forest cover, sentiments echoed by his environment counterpart Keriako Tobiko.
So the more trees we have, the better we prepare ourselves for the impact of climate change.
Trees are for life. They provide life and sustained life.
provide the air we breathe, the water we drink, and so on and so forth. Climate change, really, there cannot be life without trees. We have looked at it as a very strong linkage between the public servants, because most of the time they are perceived as people who sit behind desks and chairs. And even COVID time now, it's more of virtual working. But I think the ideology that we come out of our offices to come and unite as Kenyans and public servants to be able to plant trees, I think it sends a very strong message.
University. A similar exercise was conducted in Kabirua Forest in Mount Elgon constituency, Bungoma County, where Livestock Principal Secretary Harry Kimtai and his higher education counterpart Ambassador Simon Nabukwesi led residents in planting more than 2,000 trees in one of the country's water towers, even as they warned those encroaching into the government forest that they will not be spared.
Changamoto ni kwamba tunakuta wakaaji wa sehemu ambao wanaishi karibu na msitu wanaingia ndani ya forest na kuanza kufanya mambo ya ukulima bila idhini ya serikali ama idhini ya wizara ya misitu.
Tufanye juhudi tujaze mapengo yote yale ambayo tunayaona, ili miaka michache ijayo tusiwe na pengo lolote, kuwe na miti kila mahali na nchi yote na ulimwengu kwa ujumla utafaidika.
The theme of this year's celebration is entrenching good governance, developing transparency and accountable institutions. Even as Kenya joins other countries in Africa to celebrate the African Public Service Day, it is evident that the country, through the Ministry of Public Service, has made huge strides in ensuring this efficiency of service delivery to the common mwananchi. A clear indication of a saying, a journey over 1,000 miles starts with a single step. Reporting for Channel 1 News from Ngong Forest in Kajiado County, my name is Timothy Kipnoso.
Thank you very much, Timothy Kipnusu, for that report. Police Constable Duncan Ndiema has been charged with the murder of Yasin Moyo in Huruma Estate, Nairobi, in March this year. Ndiema pleaded not guilty before High Court Judge Luke Kimaru and will remain in custody pending his bail application on Wednesday. Yasin was shot at the balcony of their home as police patrolled the estate to enforce the dusk to dawn curfew aimed at curbing the spread of the coronavirus.
13-year-old Yasin Moyo was playing at the balcony of their home when he met his fate on 31st March this year. An investigation by the Independent Policing Oversight Authority IPOA singled out Police Constable Patrick Ndiema as the one who pulled the trigger on the fateful evening. The High Court had deferred Ndiema's plea taking after his lawyer said he was admitted at the Mbagathi hospital pending the results of a coronavirus test. Ndiema, however, tested negative despite exhibiting coronavirus-like symptoms on June 19. Ndiema is remanded at Capitol Hill Police Station pending his bail application on Wednesday.
We intend to comply with the court orders. Our client is a law-abiding citizen, a career police officer. The offenses he is facing, we will not discuss it.
For Channel 1 News, I'm Ben Troy-Njue.
In other matters, the Wiper Party has given former Senator Johnston Muthama 14 days to show cause why disciplinary action should not be taken against him for undermining I'll take that again. Disciplinary action. Why disciplinary action should not be taken against him for undermining and going against the party's policy. The party says Muthama has openly supported other political parties' cause and has failed to champion the party's interest in the National Super Alliance. Details of this and other stories in our county news wrap.
The Wiper Party movement has put on notice former Senator Johnston Muthama for going against the party's rules and regulations. In a meeting held at the party's current office Tuesday, Wiper gave the vocal former Machakos senator 2 weeks to show cause why he has neglected his duties under the National Super Alliance Coalition Council Coordination Committee as a co-chair, among other charges.
This party is working with the Jubilee faction of President Uhuru Kenyatta, and anybody who claims to be from this party and is working with any other faction is not representing the party, and might as well move out and join whatever else he thinks he's going to promote.
Elsewhere, a section of members of parliament from Marsabit County have accused the security operators in the area for laxity following the wave of killings in the county. The leaders claim 2 more people were killed on Monday in what they say could be a revenge mission. The legislators want those behind the heinous killings apprehended.
Leaders are not going to be used as an excuse for the government's failure to do its constitutional duty.
Nyandarua Bar Owners Association has appealed to the government to cushion them following the onset of COVID-19 pandemic. The victims say liquor industry was hugely affected by the epidemic, and many people who have invested in the sector are counting losses.
Serikali itufungulie mabaa zetu ili tuweze kuendeleza biashara zetu. Hao ni watoto wako shuleni wanarudi, tuko nao kwa muda huu. Wakirudi shule hata tujui tutalipa na nini.
Meanwhile, more than 23 patients are admitted at the Mwingi Level 4 hospital after being diagnosed with Kala-Azar disease. Those infected live along the Kitui-Tana River border in Mandogoi, Ngomano and Seikuru. Locals are calling on the government to visit the affected areas and come up with a solution.
Kwanza zisaidie watu na dawa, zitemshwe huko mashinani, kila kitu iwe at least.
Elsewhere, the government insists that the demolition at Sagana Town in Kirinyaga County will continue to pave way for upgrading of the Kenya railway station. According to Transport and Infrastructure Principal Secretary Mwangi Maringa, building owners affected by the move will be compensated.
We should not be struggling. Tunapiga kelele tunasema sijui nini. Serikali ni yenu.
Sugarcane farmers from the Nyando Belt and Western Kenya zone now want stricter regulations on sugar importation. The farmers say unlicensed and uncustomed sugar remains flooded in the market, thereby killing farmers' fortunes due to cheap pricing of the commodity.
Hii mambo ya sukari natoka ng'ambo hiyo. Hata unaona sukari nyingine kitu ya kutanganyana. Iko sukari nyingine natoka hapa Uganda hapa. Na sisi iko na miwa ya kutosha. Sisi nimelima miwa, hata mimi iko na miwa ya 10 ile meiva saiti.
If there is a shortage of 200,000 metric tons, you import 200, not 800.
And the Gertrude's Children's Hospital and Rotary International District 9212 has launched a partnership to train healthcare workers to diagnose and treat heart disease in children. The initiative is targeted at training cardiothoracic surgeons, cardiologists, cardiac nurses, and perfumists.
We can't do it ourselves. And we need to work with people who understand it, people who have the ability to disseminate those skills and ensure that we're actually going to be having make a difference in the lives of the children.
Irene Mchuma, Odim, Channel 1.
The Minister of Health launched the home-based isolation and care guidelines for patients with COVID-19 this month to allow the management of patients at home. The program is meant to encourage home-based care for asymptomatic patients, who account for 78% of all patients. It would also relieve the current strain on overstretched healthcare facilities.
Home-based care, it is currently becoming important. One, with the government policies, with what the WHO has given as guidelines and policies, it has been seen that you can actually be able to put somebody at home looking at certain criteria and assessment because about 70 to 80% of people who have coronavirus are actually asymptomatic. They do not have any symptoms at all, or they could be having very mild symptoms, and even if they were at health facilities, there isn't much that you are taking, you are doing for them. There are not much services that are being given to them. So one, they need very little service to be given in the hospital. Secondly, we will not be able, it's not feasible to put all these people into a health facility because there'll be very many.
Let's now cross our borders. German authorities in North Rhine-Westphalia bringing back local lockdown measures after coronavirus outbreak linked to a meat packing plant. More than 1,500 employees of the Tony's plant have tested positive. The move came as Britain hinted at easing social distancing rules by July 4th to reopen pubs, restaurants, hotels and saloons.
The Premier of the Western German state of North Rhine-Westphalia has said he was putting the Getzlow area back into lockdown until June 30th after coronavirus outbreak at a meat packing plant in the area, a move that would affect 360,000 people. In Egypt, restaurants, cafes and places of worship will reopen from the end of the week, but will keep some restrictions in place to try to limit crowding. Restaurants, cafes, cinemas and theaters will operate at 25% capacity and shut at 10 p.m. from Saturday, while mosques will be open for daily praying, but not for weekly Friday prayers. In Britain, pubs, restaurants, hotels and hairdressers can open from 4th July when social distancing rules will be eased in England. Prime Minister Boris Johnson said people should remain 2 meters apart where possible, but a 1 meter plus rule will be introduced. 2 households in England will also be able to meet indoors and stay overnight with social distancing. The Prime Minister warned that all steps were reversible. Scotland's First Minister Nicola Sturgeon and Wales' First Minister Mark Drakeford have both said that the 2 meter rule will remain in place in their nations for the moment.
All parts of the UK are now travelling in the same direction, and we will continue to work together to ensure that everyone in our country gets the support they need. Thanks to our progress, we can now go further and safely ease the lockdown in England.
In Saudi Arabia's Hajj minister has said that the number of pilgrims attending Hajj this year will be limited to around 1,000 local citizens and residents to prevent the spread of the new coronavirus. Pilgrims coming from overseas will be barred this year, and the ministry will apply strict health criteria to choose pilgrims who may attend, including excluding those above 65 years old.
We're taking another short break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll be here with the day's business.
Miss, I've been asking about Flight 648 from Paris, but no one is saying anything. Is something wrong?
A tragedy changed everything.
It's the plane. They're not coming. What are you talking about? What do you mean they're not coming? I won't leave you. Why did they have to die, Juana? Tell me why.
A last will is going to transform their lives.
It's Juana Lopez Ortiz. Me? You have to get that woman out of here. Only heaven knows what kind of trick she used to get your father to leave her the insurance.
And the person she least expected will come to her door.
Ah!
Hey!
Ouch!
Be careful. Slowly, slowly.
Oh, no,
slowly. In love with Ramon.
It's time to do some business. Retirees can now breathe easy after the National Assembly amended the Finance Bill 2020, scrapping the proposal to tax a pension from the National Social Securities Fund. In the Finance Bill drafted 12 days ago, National Treasury Cabinet Secretary Kuria Tani had proposed to tax pension receivable by retirees and other retirement benefits. Here is Betty Kiptum with the details.
Members of the National Assembly removed the clause that would have seen pension taxed starting January next year. Legislators endorsed the report by the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning, arguing that taxing pension would amount to double taxation since pensioners pay tax on their salaries.
Those terms cannot just adversely be changed to your detriment after you have served. And it is quite important that those who serve can be sure that their pension will be protected. I fully support, Mr. Chairman.
These are people who have paid taxes since they began working until they went to retire. Therefore, Honorable Chair, I wish to support.
Legislators said taxing pension would discourage many from saving for retirement and in private pension schemes.
Pensions are meager in comparison to the regular income that the person has been earning. So if you subject it again to tax, it becomes a problem. So I support and congratulate the committee and the chair.
So it was actually wrong that we even imagine, we know that the country is struggling because of COVID, but we need to find more novel ways of cushioning the economy than to look for even more vulnerable people These are the same people that we are even collecting money for as vulnerable, then we are still following them and taxing.
Following the adoption of the amendments, the Finance Bill 2020 will proceed for the third reading. Betty Kiptum, Channel 1 Business.
Let's take a look at other business news, where the government will soon lift the suspension on the importation of second-hand clothes. Trade Cabinet Secretary Betty Maina says the ministry and that of the Health Ministry has drafted safety guidelines to guide the handling and selling of second-hand clothes before the ban is lifted. This comes after Mitumba traders said they were running out of stock following the ban on importation of Mitumba in late March this year.
Late in March, the government banned importation of Mitumba clothes and shoes in line with the World Health Organization guidelines that recommend such bans during a pandemic outbreak. In recent weeks, Mitumba traders have called for the lifting of the ban, noting that they were running out of stocks. The government says this is being considered.
What they have then proposed to us is that they are willing to develop protocols on how they can conduct this trade in the context of the pandemics, and once that is reviewed by the Ministry of Health teams and our teams and other relevant competent authorities in Kenya will be able to provide greater guidance.
Line ministries are currently drafting regulations to guide proper handling of the second-hand clothes and shoes.
We actually met with the Mitumba Association yesterday, and we've clarified that what the ministry did is something that is pursuant to the standard, which is and the standard prohibits importation of goods from countries that are experiencing pandemic.
The Cabinet Secretary says Kenya hopes to become the 23rd state to sign a free trade agreement with the US, with officials from the two countries negotiating trade agreements that will succeed AGOA deals when it lapses in the year 2025.
Free trade agreement provides a very a very predictable framework for expanding investment and expanding expanding our gains.
Any EAC partner state that did not participate in these negotiations at the onset is allowed to join the negotiations, subject to terms and conditions that will be agreed between the USA and Kenya.
The US has indicated that the trade deal with Kenya will form the basis of negotiating similar deals with other countries. Benson Rioba reporting for Channel 1 Business.
The Equity Group has discontinued discussions with Atlas Mara that would have seen the Kenyan lender acquire banks in Rwanda, Tanzania, Mozambique and Zambia. Equity Board of Directors cited uncertainty of risk, which had earlier precipitated the proposed withdrawal of 9.5 billion shillings proposed dividend payout to shareholders.
In January, Equity Group Board announced the extension of discussions with Atlas Mara following the expiry of the transaction period between the two parties could reach a detailed transaction agreement. During the extended period, the two parties continued with the discussions to try and reach mutually acceptable commercial terms with respect to the proposed transaction. In a statement, Equity Group CEO James Mwangi said the board has considered the events that have taken place since January when the two parties agreed to extend transaction discussions, and particularly the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic to the world and the economies in which the group operates. After careful consideration, Equity Group Holdings and Atlas Mara have mutually agreed to discontinue discussions on the transaction for the foreseeable future. Mwangi says the lender remains keen on expanding its footprint in Africa to provide access to competitive, tailored financial services to improve lives and livelihoods, while also delivering significant value to its stakeholders. He says Equity Group has deployed a defensive and offensive mechanism through loan restructuring and rescheduling of up to 25% of the total loan book for up to 36 months. This is geared to enable customers to go through the prevailing turbulence, as well as preserving cash to shore up the financial revival and growth of their businesses post the COVID-19 crisis. He noted the board's business continuity management is focused on conserving cash and liquidity and deploying it to support our customers to survive during this economic crisis and to recover and thrive post the crisis. Betty Kiptum, Channel 1 Business.
Let's now cross our borders. The first robot restaurant complex in South China's Guangdong province opened today, with more than 20 catering robots able to produce nearly 200 kinds of dishes to customers. The restaurant, which serves Chinese food, hot pot and fast food, can serve nearly 600 people at the same time. Details of this and other stories in our international business map.
The whole process from ordering food, making dishes to serving dishes are all done by robots. The robot can make a dish as fast as in 20 seconds. As dishes made by different chefs with different skills usually vary in terms of taste and quality, the restaurant has incorporated skillful chefs and input the data including cooking process, raw materials, temperature control and others through the robot system. After thousands of times of experiments, the robots are able to produce dishes with uniform procedures and flavors. This year, the operator of the restaurant will continue to cooperate with scenic spots and universities to expand its coverage. Elsewhere, up to 1.4 million Renault and Nissan vehicles sold in Britain could be equipped with illegal defeat devices, according to a lawsuit filed Tuesday. They include a petrol-powered version of one of the UK's best-selling family cars, the Nissan Qashqai. The law firm behind the case, Hakasparker, claims that some cars produced up to 15 times the legal level of nitrogen oxides when used on the road. Hakasparker says it has seen independent test data which suggests that 1.3 million diesel cars built by Nissan and its French partner Renault may have been fitted with defeat devices. These are systems which turn emissions controls on when the vehicle is being tested but switches them off when it is being used on the road in order to improve their performance, reliability or both. Finally, Lufthansa said it had not yet reached an agreement with unions on a package to cut staff costs, but will continue talks with two unions to try and seal a deal before an extraordinary shareholders meeting on Thursday. The government is trying to broker a €9 billion bailout for Germany's flagship carrier, which has been hit hard by coronavirus-induced travel slump. Lufthansa said talks with pilot union VC and cabin crew union UF4 will be continued ahead of Thursday. Services union Verdi had on Monday said that further talks had been scheduled for Friday, and Lufthansa said this showed that Verdi was not prepared to come to an agreement before the extraordinary shareholders meeting.
Miss, I've been asking about Flight 648 from Paris, but no one is saying anything. Is something wrong?
A tragedy changed everything.
It's the plane. They're not coming. What are you talking about? What do you mean they're not coming? I won't leave you. Why did they have to die, Juana? Tell me why.
A last will is going to transform their lives.
It's Juana Lopez Ortiz.
Me? You have to get that woman out of here. Only heaven knows what kind of trick she used to get your father to leave her the insurance.
And the person she least expected will come to her door.
Ah!
Hey!
Ouch!
Be careful. Slowly, slowly.
Oh, no,
slowly.
In Love with Ramon.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
As long as it does not involve someone dying, I am in.
Why would you even think of that?
Ngalo, experience prepares you for the worstest.
Why do you like preying on innocent souls? One day, I know you'll meet my head.
Let me tell you, my brother, all I am asking is you to give Caesar what belongs to Caesar, okay?
This can be our plan. We present this to the dean. This will warrant her layoff.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry. I ran into a little trouble, okay? And stop calling me that. We are not peers.
Oh, we are not peers, eh? Maybe I should let your peers help you.
Classmates, every Saturday on KBC.
Already? I don't like this game at all.
I feel a disaster is impending here.
You are right, Mother. A huge disaster is waiting to happen.
I don't know where she is.
She's not aware that our soldiers are going to burn down this palace.
Set this palace ablaze. Nobody should survive. Neither old nor children. Not even Chanakya's beloved Ashok.
Let's take a look at some sports news now, where the Belgian embassy has partnered with Harambee Stars midfielder Joanna Omolo to donate foodstuffs to 300 families living in Dandora Estate, Nairobi. Belgian ambassador to Kenya, Nicolas Nihon, led the donation exercise meant to cushion vulnerable families feeling the effects of coronavirus pandemic.
Through the Johanna Omolo Foundation, the embassy gave out food relief, including maize flour, cooking oil, rice and sugar, with the Belgium embassy in Nairobi hinting at enhancing their support to cushion more families affected by the COVID-19 pandemic.
For 300 families, it's a package, a food package, where we put like basic stuff like maize, flour, sugar, some soap, some oil, and that's what we've been doing in other neighborhoods of Nairobi. So it's something that will help for a few weeks. We know that it's modest, but I think it's a small gesture of Belgium in time of COVID, given that we all in it. I think it's very important that Kenyans, just do remember that Belgium, America, Asia, we all in it at the same time. And I think it's a very good opportunity to remember we're all brothers and sisters.
With the football activities still on hold in most parts of the world, the Belgium ambassador advised that priority lay with securing the vulnerable from being infected with the virus.
The priority is people, families, children, elderly, to be safe. So I think when you get out of the virus, you have also to take precautions. We are getting out of the virus bit by bit in Belgium. We're not there yet in Kenya, but it's important for people to remember it's not because you can go back to work that you cannot. We might have to keep this social distancing for a while.
The foundation, run by the Belgian Best Stars midfielder, has been carrying out a series of donation exercises since the outbreak of coronavirus pandemic in the country in March 2020, efforts that have earned him plaudits for striving to make a difference back at home.
Not only to live as an example, as role model, to say, I made it, you could make it too. It's only coming back and trying, to care for the women and the men of that community, and I think it's very, it's very valuable. It shows a lot of generosity. So it shows that this John Omolo that I never met, but I'm going to have him on the phone today, is really a great person, a great soul.
Johanna Omolo turns out for Sako Bruges FC that competes in Belgium's top-tier league. Bernard Okumu, the sport at 9.
Kenyan sports journalists are among thousands of workers around the world who have either been furloughed, lost their jobs, or had their salaries reduced during this COVID-19 pandemic. Sports Journalists Association of Kenya, SJEC, in partnership with the Media Council of Kenya and Fidelity Insurance, have offered a stimulus package to their colleagues in aid during these tough times.
A few months have passed now since the Kenya government announced a stimulus package for various sectors that included selected athletes within the country. This has helped the sportsmen and women to sustain their lives during these tough times that have disrupted businesses. Meanwhile, in an effort geared towards cushioning sports journalists who have been affected during the coronavirus pandemic, Sports Journalists Association of Kenya, in partnership with the Media Council of Kenya and Fidelity Insurance, have offered a stimulus package to the affected journalists. The package came at a time when the world commemorates the annual Olympic Day, which honors the birth of the modern-day Olympic Games.
On this Olympic Day, SJAC, that is Sports Journalists Association of Kenya, we have come together to appreciate our own journalists in a way. You realize that many of them have suffered during this period. We have a number of correspondents and freelancers who actually depend on what they contribute to earn a living. And this particular time when there's no activity, it has been very difficult for most of them. And that's why we are here, and we are trying to cushion them with something small just to keep them going.
Frederick Muki for Channel 1 Sports.
Let's now cross our borders, where Phil Foden and Riyad Mahrez both scored twice, and Manchester City thrashed Burnley 5-0 to ensure Liverpool will have to wait to lift the English Premier League title. 3 first-half goals saw City on the way to the most comfortable win at Etihad Stadium, with Foden's superb long-range strike breaking the deadlock before Mahrez's double just before the break. The Algerian's fine solo effort made it 2-0 before he added another from the spot after Ben May found Sergio Aguero, with the penalty being awarded by the video assistant referee. Foden played a starring role in the bout, starting the move that saw Bernardo Silva tee up David Silva to make it 4-0 soon after the break, and then adding a fifth himself after Gabriel Jesus helped on a David Silva cross. Well, that does it for us for this edition of Channel 1 NewsHour on a day that the Senate began hearing the impeachment of Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru, and the Kitui County Assembly also initiated the process of impeaching Governor Charity Ngilu. It was also a day that 155 people tested positive for the coronavirus, but the encouragement is that if you maintain the highest level of personal hygiene and safe social distancing, you will be able to help the community stem the spread of the coronavirus. We do thank you very much for joining us tonight. You can keep interacting with us throughout on our social media platforms, KBC Channel 1 at KBC Channel 1 on Twitter. My name is Edward Kabasa. My sign language interpreter has been Lucy Mora. The weather forecast is coming up next.
Good evening and a very warm welcome to Channel 1 Weather Updates. My name is Irene Mchuma Odim. Nairobi, Central Highlands, Lake Basin region, western parts of the country and northwestern parts of the country are currently experiencing scattered wet conditions, as the rest of the country is experiencing partly cloudy conditions, and that is how it will be for the rest of the night. It will be cool and cloudy in the morning in the capital, equally in Nyeri and Meru. This will also be experienced with light rains, followed by sunny intervals in Lamu, Mombasa, Malindi. There will be showers several places over the northwestern parts of the country, and Kisii and Eldoret will experience wet conditions during the morning hours. Sunny conditions will prevail over the northeastern parts of the country and southeastern lowlands. In the afternoon, showers accompanied by thunderstorms will be experienced over several places in Kisii, Kakamega, Bungoma, Eldoret, and also over the northwestern parts of the country. The northeastern parts of the country will continue to experience sunny conditions also over the southeastern lowlands. The coastal strip will experience short sunny intervals, then wet conditions will prevail. The highest temperatures across the country will be experienced in Mandera at 36 degrees Celsius. The capital will experience maximum of 24 degrees Celsius and lows of 14 degrees Celsius. And for you in Mombasa, expect maximum of 30 degrees Celsius. That is your weather here in the home country. How about we cross the borders and see how it will be in other parts of the world? Rain or shine, have a good day ahead.
Beauty College.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 227428 Thika branch, 0725 000 706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET approved institution.
The Kenya Film Commission is glad to announce that the third edition of My Kenya, My Story mobile phone film competition received over 250 submissions. The call for submissions closed on the 3rd of June 2020. From the submissions, 20 top films will be shortlisted for public voting. You are encouraged to watch and vote for your favorite short film, which will be done via the Kenya Film Commission YouTube platform. The winner of the best short film will walk away with 200,000 Kenya shillings, while the first and the second runners-up will receive 150,000 Kenya shillings and 100,000 Kenya shillings respectively. Voting runs from 17th June 2020 through to 26th June 2020. The winner will be announced on 30th June 2020. Kenya Film Commission. Film Kenya. Capture Africa.
Miss, I've been asking about Flight 648 from Paris, but no one is saying anything. Is something wrong?
A tragedy changed everything.
It's the plane. They're not coming. What are you talking about? What do you mean they're not coming? I won't leave you.
Why did they have to die, Juana? Tell me why!
A last will is going to transform their lives.
It's Juana Lopez Ortiz.
Me? You have to get that woman out of here. Only heaven knows what kind of trick she used to get your father to leave her the insurance.
And the person she least expected will come to her door.
Ah!
Hey!
Ouch!
Be careful. Slowly, slowly.
Oh, no.
Slowly.
In love with Ramon.
Ninakusalimu katika jina la Yesu Kristo. Mimi ninaitwa Bishop Pius Wafula. Nina huduma wa Bible Life Ministries. Ninakaa Ongata Rongai, Nairobi. Nataka nikalisome neno la Mungu kutoka kwa kitabu cha Yeremia 32 mstari wa 26 na 27. Neno la Mungu linasema hivi: ndipo neno la Bwana likamujia Yeremia kusema, tazama mimi ni Bwana, Mungu wa wote wenye mwili. Je, kuna neno gumu lolote nisiloliweza? Hili ni swali ambalo Mungu anauliza. Ulikuwa wakati wa wana Israeli walipitia mambo magumu, na wakati Mungu aliwaita mambo hayakuwa sawa, basi Mungu akamuinua Yeremia nabii. Na alipoona wana wa Israeli wakilia, wakipita kwa maisha magumu, wakishangaa imekuwaje tena, Mungu akaambia Yeremia, nena na hawa watu wangu kwamba mimi ninawapenda, haijalishi mambo ambayo wanayapitia, maana mimi ndimi niliyewaumba. Hata wewe ambaye unanisikiliza, nataka hata nilinene hili neno katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Tunajua kuna mambo mengi ambayo tunayapitia. Maisha yamekuwa ni magumu. Watu wana vitisho, wanatishiwa, wanasema watakufa kwa sababu ya magonjwa haya. Lakini nanena neno moja ambalo Mungu amenipa kwa hili taifa. Na wewe ambaye unayenisikiza, Mungu anakuuliza, je, kuna lolote ambalo